Hi everybody, I'm Tim Reichert. I'm an economist and a business owner. I'm a husband and a father, and I'm running to be your next representative in Colorado's 7th Congressional District. I'm running for the middle class. I grew up in the 1970s, a time of high inflation, high unemployment, and now we're in the sequel, which is why what I stand for is something I call the American Middle Class Restoration Plan. It has three components: economy, public safety, and education. I believe we need to reopen pathways into the middle class that have been increasingly closed off over the past 30 years. And so my middle class restoration plan focuses on what those pathways were, how they've been closed off, and how to reopen them. I'm the only candidate in this race who's spent 15 months developing a comprehensive plan to restore the American middle class. And this is at a time when kitchen table issues, economic issues, are the most important issue on people's minds. My American Middle Class Restoration Plan is unlike anything else that any candidate in this race on the Republican or Democratic side is bringing to the table, and I think it's unlike anything else that any other candidate in the congressional cycle in 2022 is bringing to the table. I'm not only an economist, but I'm a business owner. I've been the CEO of a business, of more than one business actually. I've been very successful there, and I am a man of faith. I'm someone who brings a long period of discernment and prayer to this race. I decided to do this because I spent a long time discerning and praying about whether to. My question to Ms. Pedersen is, why did you co-sponsor House Bill 19-1263, which we now know killed at least 600, probably as many as 650 Coloradans? Why did you co-sponsor that, and isn't that a clear indictment of your judgment? I believe we need to reclass fentanyl from a class 2 to a class 1 substance nationwide. Why? Because fentanyl is like COVID. It's invisible. You can't see it, but it's laced into so many other drugs, some recreational drugs, some legal medicinal drugs, and it's killing people. It's killing people all across the country, and it's done purposefully, right? Most of this is manufactured in China. The Chinese know this. They've done very little to stop the manufacturing of fentanyl. Flows into Mexico, much of it, and then up through our porous southern border. So that has to be stopped. We have to complete the border wall so that the flow of fentanyl, which is killing Americans, this is the third wave of the opioid crisis, comes to an end. So as for education, we need to expand educational opportunity. So we need to expand educational freedom. Things in Colorado that allow for us to have more charter schools, such as charter school institutes and BOCES, Boards of Cooperative Educational Services, need to be expanded nationwide. Universities, BOCES, and charter school institutes need to be allowed to flourish nationwide so that we can have more educational freedom. We also have to bring back the trades. We need vocational education from grades 9 through 12 to be widely available, so that you can match your child to the kind of education that they need, whether that's vocational education, a classical education, a STEM education, or traditional public school education in K through 12. Yes, so I believe that the Republican Party needs to have a seamless garment of life. We need to be the party of life in all its forms, which is why I'm against fentanyl. It's why I'm for the American middle class. The American middle class needs to be allowed to flourish, to have a good life. That's part of being a pro-life party. And we need to be the party for women. 72% of abortions occur because women believe that they can't bring that child to term for economic reasons. And that's an indictment on our society. We need to be a party that reaches out to them, offers a helping hand to them in a real and meaningful way, so that many of whom have been abandoned by men, they know that they have the support that they need, and that needs to be central to our party. That is my position. So we now have a society, a country in which we have 330 million American citizens roughly, and another 25 to 30 non-citizens. In South Africa, they call that apartheid. That's really what it is. It's antithetical to the rule of law. We have to have comprehensive immigration reform. Why? Because most Hispanics, most immigrants to this country are here because they believe in the American dream. And most of them believe in the American dream more than second and third and fourth generation Americans. We need to recognize that. We need to allow for immigration reform like we had it decades and decades and even more than a century ago, where people could arrive at Ellis Island, they could go through a rational and reasonable immigration process as opposed to waiting 10 or 15 years, which is impossible. We need an immigration process consistent with rule of law, but also consistent with equity and fairness. A form of immigration that allows people who believe in the American dream to be the citizens that they want to be. I just want to say thank you to the Hispanic community here in Colorado and say welcome. I want to say thank you for being here, because I know that you're here because you love this country, because you believe in the American dream, and I'm grateful that you are my fellow brothers and sisters in this great enterprise that we call America. Yeah, I love football. I love American football. My wife and I are big Broncos fans. My wife Martha converted me to the Broncos many, many years ago. I grew up in Cleveland, and so I was a Browns fan. And of course now, being here, I've been converted to the Denver Broncos. So go Broncos! I'm embarrassed to say what I normally listen to is podcasts. I don't listen to that much music, but I love country music. I do enjoy country music. I like older country. Garth Brooks is one of my favorites. Either steak or pizza. Those are probably my two favorite foods. Okay, I'll take Pueblo Chili's.